What up, everybody? How you doing? Katie May and Mike Watson are in the building. We're trying out some new stuff.
Hey everyone. Sorry, having a hair problem. It's like in my face.
Oh, you're fine. Trying some new stuff today. That shouldn't be on. All right, there we go. That it? Okay. So we're live. We're here, episode 18, and we're doing stuff. All types of stuff. Fun stuff. How have you been, Katie?
Not bad. It's been a busy week, but I'm glad it's the weekend.
You and me both. You and me both. I'm so happy it's the weekend. All right. So we have an episode that is probably the episode that got us started talking about this idea. I would even say the idea of doing a show. I would even say the subject of this episode is what started our friendship. What would you say?
This is a long time in the making. I know we are only 18 episodes deep into this podcast, but this is a couple years in the making, and this is something I have been wanting to do for a while, and I know Mike feels the same way, so I'm pretty stoked.
I am too. I even took notes. I'm
oh my God.
For it, like Katie May. I don't know if I can actually follow the rules of the show on this time. I don't know if I can do that or not, but we'll see. Why won't this thing let me invite more people? That was the whole reason I did it on here. All right, well, whatever. So we're in the building. All right, so we're going to start off here with, let's get our share screen up. We got a couple things to talk about before we get into the topic, and if you don't know what we're talking about, I'm sorry for you, because we're talking about Harry Potter. We're going to talk about some other things, though, but this is a Harry Potter episode.
The episode I have been waiting for.
The episode she has been waiting for. All right. So, first off, why aren't my... Oh, yeah. So, we're talking about this Harley Quinn movie, because that's exactly what it is. It is the Harley Quinn movie. I don't know who the Birds of Prey are, because they are barely in this thing. So you want to set our timer for 2 minutes, Katie?
Yeah, let me get that going. Oh, not an hour and 55 minutes.
No, not an hour and 55 minutes.
That was my timer for the meter for downtown over the weekend. Okay, I'm gonna let you start. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Go.
I want to go. Okay. So the good Margot Robbie looks amazing as Harley Quinn. She does a great job acting of this character. She brings this character to life in live action, and it's really, really ridiculous how good she does it, how she portrays her. The little sick twistedness of her with this innocent playfulness that has a taint of "I will kill you" and snap in any moment. While the rest of this trailer, I don't know what the hell it is. I'm sorry. Like I want this to be dope, but like I read comics. Batgirl is the founder of Birds of Prey. She is a main character in it, and we don't have her in here. Then we have a Black Canary that I don't recognize at all, or the other women that are in this team I don't recognize. They look nothing like their comic book parts. So in case you didn't know it, Maggie, is it Maggie or Margot? Margot. She's my good, but everything else is my bad. Like, who are these women supposed to be? Like, they really just look like they were just thrown in here to be a supporting cast. And honorable mention, that title's way too damn long. I'm sorry. That title is ridiculously just dumb. Like, someone spit that out and said, I'm sorry, I gotta stop. Go ahead.
That's okay. So you left me 30 seconds, so I will be as quick as possible. I did not see Suicide Squad. I heard it was terrible, but I did hear that Margot Robbie was like the saving grace of this. So good for her. She got her own movie. Congratulations. Uh, do we need this movie? What is it about? I don't know. Nah. Nah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You can have some more time because I took all that and that was
No,
really
that's okay. That's my bad. I don't know if we need this.
I don't know. Like, that's the time.
Yep, that was it.
But don't get me wrong. Like, I want it to be good.
Yeah, of course. I want her to succeed. I'm just confused about like what's going on here. Maybe that's the whole point. Isn't her whole thing like chaos?
Yeah.
So
Like,
I guess maybe the trailer is giving us the impression it's supposed to.
My honorable mention for good, I love Rosie Perez. I'm glad she's in something. Like, yay, Rosie Perez. I like her.
Not sure what it is, but yay, you're in
Not sure at all.
it.
Like, I feel like this is like their last Vine idea before they started making changes with stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, so I've cut my computer off and restarted it, and it's still acting dumb.
Oh,
Don't know
lovely.
why. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. There we go. Maybe because I was trying to do more than one thing at once. All right, so now we're gonna. So that was our little quick fire round just to get our good and our bad, and we're about to switch it up. And we're about to jump into Nerd Again. Yeah, we got a couple topics here, which should be, and I want to say, which should be topics of joy. So this happened. All right, so this whole MCU, Spider-Man's leaving, Sony and Marvel can't come to terms. We're losing Spider-Man, and we're gonna leave all this money on the table. And then what? A month later, they've struck a deal. Shut the up.
I can't help but think that this was kind of like a huge marketing play to like spur and generate a lot of discussion so that people oops, sorry, I apparently set our timer again. I like it was some crazy marketing ploy just to get people to be talking about this and be like, oh, we worked it out. I don't know.
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan?
I'm not a fan. Like, not at all. Like, so number one, when this whole thing started, I'm like, Spider-Man's not going anywhere. All right. Sony and MCU have put themselves in a situation where they have to work together. They have to work together to at least finish out the trilogy. There's no way that they were just going to completely pull Spider-Man out of this when they put so much weight on the story with him, and they've connected him so much through the MCU. It just wasn't going to happen. And Sony just got their first billion-dollar film with Spider-Man due to Marvel's creative genius. So I don't want to hear any of that, like, at all. So one of the things that I thought was, as long as it took for them to announce Spider-Man 3 was happening with another appearance in the other movies or whatnot, that is pretty much the time it takes to announce another movie. So all this insider information that got leaked out, that's the stuff we're not even supposed to know about. We shouldn't even know that happened. I don't care that Marvel and Sony had an argument, or they couldn't agree on money, or they couldn't agree on terms. I just care about the end result of Spider-Man getting another film in the MCU, which we honestly don't need to know all this information. So it was either somebody that wanted to get a side paycheck by leaking out some information, or somebody from Marvel or somebody from Sony that wanted to leak the information so they get an advantage at the negotiating table, because they knew the majority of fans would be rabid with anger after you just gave us this awesome Spider-Man in MCU. Things that I really don't feel like that we needed at all. Like this whole thing, I feel like I agree with you. It was just like a publicity stunt. It was just a complete and utter waste of time to get back to the end result of what we knew was going to happen. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. But, I mean, fans should be happy. They're getting their movie. We can all
Well,
move on.
actually, there's a lot of fans that are disappointed because they don't like this version of Spider-Man. That's the one
Oh,
thing that was revealed, that there's a ton of people that do not like the MCU's version of Spider-Man. They call him the Iron Lad. He's Iron Man's baby boy or whatnot.
okay.
I personally disagree, but tomato,
Sure. I
tomato.
knew you would.
Of course I do, Katie. Uh, the MCU has given us one of the best versions of Spider-Man in a 10-minute segment in Civil War, and just have expanded upon that with the MCU universe. Here's the thing. We've had 5 Spider-Man movies prior to this with 2 reboots. Why is Marvel going to try to do the exact same thing that has been done before? They can't focus on the exact same things because they've been beat to death, and so they switched them up in a very livid and powerful way, and I love the Spider-Man that we have right now. Okay? No knock against Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire is still up there for me, but Tom is killing it right now. He's absolutely killing it right now. Next up, this nonsense. All right. So I was super excited about this when I first read it, when I first saw the news, what was going on and whatnot.
So what is the news? Because those of people who will be listening to the podcast can't see what you put up there.
Oh, they can't see it?
No, I'm saying when we make this into a podcast,
Oh,
people
yeah.
are not going to be able to know what you're talking about.
You're completely right. This is Michael B. Jordan has teamed up with Coach to make a Naruto clothing line. Now, this should be great, right? I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I'm looking at it like, look at this officially licensed Naruto gear. And Michael B. Jordan is the man right now, and enjoy a lot of his movies. I enjoy him, knowing that he's an avid anime fan. And I'm looking at stuff like, this is cool. All right, let me go check out the website. Katie, let's look at some of these prices.
Well, Coach is, I can just tell you as a woman, Coach is not cheap. So I can only imagine what this is going to be like. But it just seemed, I can see Michael B. Jordan partnering
So like
with
that, I
Coach.
didn't realize that. I didn't think about that, Katie. So when you say
Yeah.
when you say Coach isn't isn't cheap, it didn't
Yeah.
register. It didn't
Right.
register in my head because I don't buy Coach.
Right.
But yeah.
So,
I got
and I see him partnering with them, but this whole anime partnership between, that seems weird to me. That seems like a really weird partnership with Coach.
So like, here's the thing. It didn't feel like a genuine. It didn't feel like a genuine deal. Like, for whatever reason, I feel like Michael B. Jordan is a guy for the people, and then a move like this, like, doesn't feel like it's for the people, because who can afford this besides people with money?
Right.
Like, here's some of the prices. That jacket that he has on right now in that picture, that is an $800 jacket.
So the jacket that he's wearing in this picture is what appears to be a jean jacket with some sort of like fleece lining on the inside and then some symbol on the sleeve. Like, I don't know. You said how much?
$800, Katie.
For a jean jacket?
Look. And this jean jacket, I'm trying to check right now. This jean jacket ain't got nothing but that. That's it.
That's it? Just that little symbol on the sleeve?
Hold up. I'm looking at the next picture. Okay. It has artwork of Naruto on the back.
Okay. But still.
$800.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. He has a pair of tennis shoes. $300 for the tennis shoes. This little bag, those fanny packs people are bringing back.
Mm-hmm. Guys, stop with the fanny packs. Stop.
Just guess the price, Katie. Just guess the price.
$350.
Oh, you were $50 off. $300.
$300. All right.
The t-shirts are $100. A code $100. Just for
$100 for a t-shirt?
For the t-shirt. Now, this other jacket that they have on this website, which is really, really cool. It's like a jacket that can be worn in a way that I never thought you would wear a jacket, like a book bag. And it's reversible, and then it's a long version. So it's like 3 different ways you can wear this jacket. This jacket, it's a parka. That's what it is. It's a 3-in-1 parka. It is $1,500.
Oh my god, that parka better be able to be worn in freaking Antarctica.
So like at the end of the day, Michael B. Jordan, you really like anime. Like you're a big anime fan. You love Naruto, and you partner up with Coach to get a line of anime clothing. But like, who is it for? Because it's not for the regular person.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
not
for
for like the everyday anime fan. This is for rich anime fans, I
right.
suppose.
Like a $1,500 jacket. The backpack is $600. Yeah, what is this? There's a tote. It's $200 outside of the shirt. That's the cheapest thing on the website. So Marcy Lynn, she's the head FSK cosplayer. She makes all the cosplay costumes for Freestyle Comics. That Naruto vest, I know a lot of people may know what I'm talking about. The green vest that Kakashi Sensei wears, she can make that for $150. But like, that's an actual outfit uniform out of the show.
Right.
Like that's an actual vest, and she'll make that, and that's like original right there. Like I'd rather go to a cosplayer and get stuff made custom than pay for this because it's
Yeah.
just
Well, this
jeans,
isn't even the costume. This is just a jacket with some art on it.
right? So oh man, I don't see any like. So I guess the good is that the geek culture is expanding to other formats, but the bad is everyone can't enjoy this. It doesn't. It to me, it doesn't feel like a genuine geek
Yeah.
move.
Right. Yeah. It's not accessible to everybody who would
Right.
want it.
And I mean, I can't really hate on Michael B. Jordan. He's out here doing his thing. I mean, he has every right to sign deals with whoever he wants. But it's just like I just feel like Mike. What about the regular people?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of fans out there who are going to be disappointed that they can't get this gear.
It just keeps coming up in my head like that. So
Yeah.
I don't see too many goods with that. But alas, it is what it is. It is
is.
what it is. All right, so next up here, so that was our Nerdageddon section. If you guys have any questions or comments about that, please throw them in there so we can see them and get involved with the show or whatnot. All right, so we're on that. And yeah, basically those prices are ridiculous. But we're to our main event here, where we will be talking about in little bits and pieces here the Harry Potter movie franchise. Talking about our favorite moment, maybe our least favorite moment, our favorite character of the series, making comparisons from the books to the movies. One question that I'm really interested to hear Katie answer is, what is one thing from the book she would like to change in the movies, or from the movies she would like to see changed in the book? I don't get to answer that. I don't get to have those thoughts a lot because I never read what the movie's about. I always just read the movie, and the comics are so different from comic movies, so I never have that, you know. But this is cool because I've read the books and I've seen all the movies, and I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, as is Katie May. Not to dismay anything that she's doing here.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Harry Potter 1, the Sorcerer's Stone.
Well, before we get into that, how about you tell me how you got into Harry Potter?
No, you tell me because I've been gabbing a lot.
Okay, well, so it was my freshman year of high school, or not high school, college, and it was finals week, and I was trying to avoid studying. So I picked up the Harry Potter book. I tore through it. Then I picked up the next one and I tore through that. And then I picked up the next one and I tore through that. And I was hooked. And it was basically just finals avoidance.
So to avoid doing homework, you read Harry Potter?
Yeah.
So was Harry Potter always in your plate to oh, I'm going to read this one day?
Yeah, I had heard a lot of buzz about it, and I kind of wonder, because when I was in college, I mean, the internet was a thing. The internet was not the thing that it is today. Mm-hmm. There was no social media. There was none of that. So I'm wondering if it were now, or if social media was the way that it was, the internet is the way that it is now, if I would have been on the Harry Potter train much sooner. Mm-hmm. Probably, because it's totally something I'm into, but I was a little late in that, just because nobody I knew was reading it. Because again, was in college, wasn't really geared towards college kids. So yeah, I don't know, but that's how it started. It was me trying to avoiding studying for finals.
All right. I dig it. I dig it. Absolutely. So I hated Harry Potter. Like I couldn't stand it. Like I just the fact that everybody was so into it and was going crazy about it. I was so annoyed by it. Like I hate overtly popular things that I'm not into. That bothers me. And then like the covers for the books, I just thought they were the worst pieces of art that you could put on a book. I just thought it was complete trash. Um, Now I honestly can't tell you what came first. I think the movies came first. Like I watched the first three movies and was fine with it, or the first two movies and I was fine with it, but I wasn't going to read the books. And then I started working at the Salesian Boys and Girls Club. Oh no, the West Side Boys and Girls Club. And I had a coworker there by the name of Jamie, and she just raved about the books all the time. She just kept talking about the books, like, "Oh, you can't just watch the movies; you gotta watch the books." I was like, "Jamie, if you don't leave me alone with them damn books, I'm not reading. I'm not doing it. It's just not going to happen." And for whatever reason, she put a book in my hand. It was The Goblet of Fire, and she was like, "This is the latest one. You have to read it, Mike. I'm telling you, you are going to love it." And I was like, "Oh my god, she just won't leave me alone about it." And so I started reading it and hesitantly and got completely sucked into it, like all the way. Like I was standing on my bed during the Quidditch matches and stuff. Like I was engrossed terribly, and then it was over from there.
All right.
All right, so next up we have all right. So Harry Potter won the Sorcerer's Stone
Or Philosopher's Stone if
or
you're
Philosopher's
across
Stone.
the
Yeah, yeah,
pond.
correct. Um, what is your bad and what is your bad on that one?
Okay, so my bad for that one is kind of at the very end, where Dumbledore, it's the end of the year party, whatever, and Dumbledore gives last minute points to Gryffindor for their heroic acts and blah blah blah. Like, no wonder Slytherin freaking hates Gryffindor. Come on now. Like, he's just like, oh, Slytherin, you won, but oh wait, hold on, there's been a change. Let me just, cook the books a little bit. Oh, and if there was any question, I'm Slytherin.
Wow, wow.
So,
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to disagree with that bad all the way. Dumbledore is allowed to cook the books however the hell he wants to cook the books. I didn't see nobody else playing no giant chess match. I ain't see nobody doing going down there doing any of the stuff that they did. So cook the books, Dumbledore.
I'm
It's
just saying, there's a reason why Slytherin was mad and why they hated Gryffindor. It was for shenanigans like that.
well, so Slytherin maybe shouldn't be so selfish with their time, and maybe they should have helped out instead of picking on poor old Harry Potter the whole damn year. Okay, so my bad is, which is great, how Harry was treated. That is my bad because I was getting real pissed off. Like I know I'm invested when I am truly getting angry at what is happening right now to the character because that aunt uncle, man, I want to have some fire for them, boy. That is ridiculous. And how they dog his mama in front of
Well,
him.
the crazy thing about that too is like we come in when he's just, turning 11. He's been enduring this for 11 years. This isn't just happening. Like, this has been his entire life up until this point.
That's what I'm saying. What's up, everybody? Laura, what's up, Ja? How you doing? Thanks for the wave. Glad you joined in. Yeah, 11 years of this crap. Just complete disrespect.
Uh-oh. Think we're having some technical difficulties. Mike, you're frozen in a funny face.
Oh, okay. Looks like we lost it for a second. We're back.
Okay, there you are. And I wish you could have seen the face that was frozen. It was pretty funny.
I hopefully maybe I'll see it when it downloads when I download the episode. But yeah, I couldn't stand his little pig-shaped little. Was it his cousin?
Yes, his cousin.
Yeah, yeah. F him, man. F him. All right. So the good.
So the good for me is when Harry and Ron realize that they're being dickheads and help save Hermione, and that she covers for their asses even though they were being assholes.
Mhm.
And that's just really like true friendship right there. It's like, yeah, you get into fights, you get in your quibbles, but at the end of the day, you love each other, and you know, even when they're wrong, you're going to be backing them up.
Mhm. The good for me is just when Harry gets introduced to this world. Everything about this world is like, I don't know, it just made me feel like a kid again. And it took me back to those old school classic movies where you're just open to this whole world of adventure. And I guess I just haven't felt anything that fresh that made me feel that childlike and like, oh my God, I wish I was a part of this world. Like until I watched that like movie. It's been so long since I just had that feeling. All the nuances and everything they were introducing here. Like I felt like I was right next to Harry being introduced to all this stuff at the same time. So it was really presented very well how they welcomed how he got into this world of being a magician, being a wizard and things like that. And just it was just I felt completely new all over again.
Yeah, it was pretty magical, that first movie, especially because it's the first time you're seeing any of this stuff, and it's just like a whole new world.
All right, so what is it? Harry Potter. What is it? The Chamber of
Secrets. Yes.
Chamber of Secrets. All right. So the bad for me, Ron's scary ass was getting on my nerves, and I say that with discredit that I would be just as scared as him. But I'm an outside viewer watching the film. It was just getting annoying. But probably the thing that really bothered me again, they did a great job of creating the whole mudblood racist behavior. Like that irritated the hell out of me. Like I did not like it. But I know you're not supposed to like it, but they did such a good job of making you not like it. So like when they were talking and like called him Riley that, I was pissed. Like I was infuriated. Like, oh, how can you wizards be like this? You guys have all this awesome stuff, and we still have racism here.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. I think they did do a good job of bringing that out. For me, the bad, and this is unpopular, but I freaking hate Dobby. He is so freaking annoying. He like almost ruined the movies for me. Like I can't stand him. He's so freaking annoying.
I'm not gonna bite you off for that one. He is a bit annoying. He has there's not very many good moments where Dobby just like, all right, Dobby, just shut up, man. I'm tired of you. I get it. I can get it, but yeah. Okay.
But not movie ruining like Jar Jar Binks.
Oh yeah.
Not that bad.
Yeah,
but
no.
pretty bad.
But I think Dobby's supposed to be annoying too, though. Like I think he's supposed to be. But again, not Jar Jar Binks bad.
No.
So the good. There's a few things to choose from the good of this movie. This is why I said I may not be able to follow the rules all the way on this. Potter beating Malfoy. God, that tasted so good. It was so delicious. I absolutely loved it. When the groundskeeper, when the camera zooms in on him, he's like, "Oh damn, well in trouble." I love how he said that. It just tickles me every time I see it. This movie is where my love for Severus grows, and I don't even realize I'm in love with Severus Snape yet, but it is there. It is growing and blossoming.
Yeah.
And of course, how he beat the dark art teacher so easily. It was just so incredible. It was just like he just brushed himself off and just destroyed that guy, and I didn't like that guy at all.
Lockhart, yeah. So Lockhart, oh man, he's like a great kind of like, I don't want to say villain, but like even villain, basically. I mean, he's not like the main villain or whatever, but he's such
Mhm.
a great, because he's got like the charisma and the looks, and everyone's enamored with him and thinks he's so wonderful. But at the end of the day, he's just a piece of shit.
Right.
And it's like those make the best villains, where it's like, but the most infuriating, because it's like, you know that they're the bad guy, and you're like, how is it that everybody else doesn't know that this person sucks?
Yeah, all the women were just so in love with him. But I mean, he's the Gaston of this movie or
Yes,
whatnot.
yes, absolutely. The good for me is when the Weasleys have their rescue mission and get Harry in the Ford Anglia, the car, and they rescue him. And it's after Dobby had been blocking all of Harry's letters, so he thought that his friends just didn't care about him. So he's like really sad, and then all of a sudden his friends show up to rescue him in this like enchanted car. It was fucking badass.
I concur. That was really good. There's so many good moments to choose from.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is your bad for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban?
There you go. My bad is, okay, so one of the things that I cannot stand in movies and books is when stuff repeats.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of time travel stuff I'm not into, just because they do a lot of like repeating. Mm-hmm. So that's my bad, is that they're repeating because of Hermione using her time turner. I was like, we already saw this. We already saw
this time turner?
Yeah, I mean, the time turner is pretty rad. That thing's cool. I just don't like the movie because of it, because we're just seeing a lot of the same stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I just realized, like, I have like all this Harry Potter stuff, and I realized, like, I have.
I know. I should have. If I had had more time, I would have grabbed.
If I would have thought about it. I would have brought my SH Fig Art figures. I have Snape, Ron, Hermione, and Harry, and they're amazing. But they're at my other job. I have a desk there, and they're sitting up there with their wands.
I have a couple of Harry Potter figures in my desk at my work too.
We're so much alike. All right, so my bad was I had a couple. That I hate the fucking wolf design. I hate it so much. And especially after finding out that they toned it down because they thought it was too scary for a children's movie. I was like, you got Dementors in this whole franchise. That's scary as hell. All right. We see werewolves all the time. There's not too much you can do to make a wolf ultra scary. So I get you guys are going for a different design, but now it just looked goofy. It just looked goofy. I didn't feel threatened by it. It looked like a skinny ass dog is what it looked like, and he needed a steak or something. Yeah. So that was it. And then I didn't like this new Dumbledore. All right, he had to grow on me. I missed the original Dumbledore.
Yeah, that was hard, because instead of being the same Dumbledore, like playing Dumbledore the same way, he made it his own, which is great if you're like doing a play version or something completely separate. But when you're part of a franchise, you have got to play it the way that it was previously.
Yeah. And there was the line at the end that I just like, and that's what really bothered me about it, because the line he says at the end to Hermione was perfect. If it was the old Dumbledore saying it, it was the old actor saying it. And I mean, again, you can't control. The guy passed away. I absolutely can't control that. I'm just saying, like, that was a sore spot for me because he was so perfectly casted for that role. Like, it was like Patrick Stewart as Professor X. So,
yeah, exactly. I get that. So my good is introduction of two of my favorite characters, Sirius Black and Lupin. You know, I really, really love both those characters, which is really sad because all of my favorites died. But yeah, it was like, you know, finally, I know everyone says that Dumbledore was, you know, a father figure to Harry, but I feel like Dumbledore was like too cryptic and too weird and too into whatever the fuck he was doing for himself to really be that kind of mentor for Harry. And I feel like we've been in Sirius did a much better job. And they knew his dad, they were friends with his dad, so there was that connection. And I just really love those characters, and I really liked that they were a part of this world.
I do. I do. All right. So the good for me again. I'm cheating, but it's Harry Potter, so I don't give a damn. Uh, Severus's entrance into that classroom when he walks and he just shuts the windows and he's just storming forward and he turns around and wraps himself in his cloak and says, "Page 942," and he's just like eyeballing Harry Potter. Like it's like he brought that character to life so much. Like I enjoy the character a lot in the book. It's my favorite character in the book. It's my favorite character in movies. But dang, that actor just absolutely devastatingly brought that character to life so much for me. It was so enjoyable watching him do it. Um, and then Harry's journeys. Harry's journey throughout the whole like this whole movie, the different things that Harry had to go through, especially with him dealing with discovering like he's so brave, so giving him an actual thing that he thought he could stand up to, but he has not only a fear of it, well, the fear derived of a weakness of it, because he hasn't grew up in this world, so he doesn't know about all these things. So like that whole like story arc of him having to go through that, I really enjoyed it. And the expecto patronum. I'm a big main character guy. I love it when the hero comes in and realizes their power and their potential. And man, did he ever sell that expecto patronum? Like when he started putting it together and realized it was him, but also opening up the door to how powerful is Harry Potter? Like how powerful can Harry Potter be when he really sits down and gets to the magic? Oh, I'm done.
Okay. Yeah, well, no, I mean, we went through all of my stuff for Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh,
we can
I'm sorry.
we can move on to Goblet of Fire.
I got lost. I got lost in the Harry. I thought we were coming back to you. Okay.
No, I'm good.
Goblet of Fire. All right. So my bad for Goblet of Fire is, and I know it's part of the story, but Ron got on my damn nerve. His resentment. Jesus. His resentment to Harry. Like, Ron, you know Harry better than anybody outside of Hermione. Do you really think he wants to be doing all this stuff? Like, at his core, Harry wants to have a regular teenage life. And all that stuff in there is pretty crazy deadly. Like,
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous. So Ron was kind of getting on my nerves with that.
Yeah, so that actually was my bad too. Him getting all jealous and mad that Harry was a contender for the Triwizard Tournament really pissed me off, because it's like, just freaking talk. Just talk for 3 seconds. And that's another trope that I hate, is when like the characters like get so mad about something and they don't just like spend like 1 minute just talking to the person or letting them say something, and they just like run off and walk off, and you're like, this whole conflict could have just been resolved if you just had 30-second conversation.
One conversation.
Yeah, stop being a little bitch. Get over yourself, Ron.
All right. So I didn't like the two other schools, and I can't pronounce their names, but basically the jocks and the cheerleaders. I hated it. I feel like I just feel like they were just so typecasted by their gender and that just derived the whole design and look of those characters. And I'm like, on one instinct, I'm like, why can't the girls be the badasses? And why couldn't the dudes just be some really nicely dressed, sharp, like, I don't know, dapper guys or whatnot?
And it does, like, that's an interesting point, because they were very like, okay, this is like the military school, and then this is like the girls' Catholic school or whatever kind of thing. Whereas Hogwarts is just a school.
Yeah.
It's a school with regular kids who do regular things. Like, why couldn't these be two schools that were exactly like Hogwarts, just in different locations?
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that really bothered me. So my good for Phoenix, what the heck?
Goblet of Fire.
which is, by the way, the first book that I read before I read all of them. That was my introduction to the books or whatever. But the good in this one, the shit gets real. We face actual consequences with death. Mad Eye is a awesome character. Voldemort stakes his ground as one of the scariest villains ever when, without hesitation, he kills a child. He just kills him like he's nothing. Like, you're in my way, be gone. Um, and the story is weaved very well for me in this one with mixing the Goblet of Fire and building to the reveal of Voldemort. But yeah, those are my things for me. Like, but that turning age, I like how it changed because it also coincided and it was intentional with them getting older, with them coming out of the 11, 12, 13, and being 14, 15 years old. So I thought that was dope.
For me, the good is in the beginning when they are at the Quidditch Cup. I thought that was really cool. You got to see like the professional Quidditch players, and it was just nice to see them outside of school doing something really fun and something really wizardy. And it wasn't just Harry at the Dursleys like getting rescued or getting shat on. It was like them having an awesome time doing what wizards do normally.
Yeah, it's always cool when they find a different way or they introduce us to a new piece of the wizarding world, and we get to see how that operates and functions.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so now we're on to
Number 5, Order of the Phoenix.
Order of Phoenix. What's your good or no, your bad? I like to close with goods.
My bad. Okay, so to me, I know you said in the last one that Voldemort was starting to become one of the most like the scariest villains. One of the for me, Dolores Umbridge is the scariest villain that has ever lived. She is so freaking scary. So I guess this isn't my good or bad. This is just an observation about like how awesome of a character she is, because she is this like tiny little woman who speaks like very sweetly and giggles and wears pink and loves kittens, and she is terrifying. She is scary as fuck. Like, she is crazy, controlling, just and like super she is like the ultimate villain. Like, she is scarier than Voldemort to me 100%. But on the terms of that is the bad for me is this whole gaslighting thing that happens when Harry's like, Voldemort's back, and Umbridge and all of her crew are like, no, he's not. You guys are crazy. There's something wrong with you. Don't tell lies. And then he gets punished, but he's telling the truth. And this whole gaslighting thing was just like, infuriating. Again, if you just had like a 1-minute conversation, this whole thing could be cleared up.
Which is so funny because I hate Dolores Umbridge. I can't even give her props as a villain. I hate her that much. Like, if a Dolores Umbridge toy came out, I wouldn't get it because I partially believe my toys kick it when I leave, like Toy Story, and she would be a bitch to my toys. So I don't even want that in the sanctum at all. I hate Dolores Umbridge with an unbridled passion. I'm right there with Harry. Like, I wanted to punch her in her throat when she was tormenting Harry the way that she was. So like, I just can't stand her at all. So, but my bad is Dolores Umbridge and pushing him. Like, I'm looking at my notes. And I'm like, yeah, and setting him up to be this liar and really driving that initiative home. And it's just like, you realize at the end of the day that this is a kid. This is a kid. At the end of the day, like, so there's just no way at all that he could be telling the truth. Not any way, even a tad bit that he could be telling the truth. That the most dangerous wizard of our time has returned. But I also did not like the death of the Godfather. Did not like that at all.
Sirius Black.
Sirius Black. That hurt me because it was so It was actually at one of my favorite parts of the film when Harry and Sirius are fighting back to back, and he's so entwined with it and so in love with that moment that it makes him think that he's fighting with James, and
Yeah.
he accidentally calls him James, and then he gets killed. Like right after he
And it,
says, "Hey, we're gonna
you
live
know,
together."
and his death is just so like anticlimactic. He's just gone. Like it was just like, it wasn't like an explosion or heroic or anything. It was just like he falls into that thing and he's gone, and it's like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, but I think that rings with the tone of what Voldemort and the Death Eaters are bringing back. That death can come in any way.
Yeah.
There are no heroes here. Voldemort's back, and he's here to set his law, his reign, and whatever goes goes. It's it's a head wringer to the fact that these kids are growing up and they have to face the realities of life, dealing with dealing with the old guard. So it does hurt because that scene is so awesome. Let me see here. Let me see here. Fighting was gone. Yeah, so like that scene when it came down, where all the Death Eaters came out in the smoke, and the Order of the Phoenix came in with the light. I was at that moment when that fight scene was happening. I was like, Star Wars, why can't you get it right? Because that was when Episode 1 and 2 had just came out. And I was like, they got it in one scene. Why can you not get it right? Like that scene was epic. And I was like, how are they going to make a big group wand fighting scene epic? Well, Mike, shut up, because they did. It was incredible. Like the one little dude who was like, yeah, that was Severus. He like twisted his arm and clapped his hand. I was like, is this dude doing combo moves with a wand? Like it's incredible.
Well, I mean, you gotta realize that these are seasoned wizards who have been, wizards all their lives and practicing magic all their lives. They know some shit. Like they are good. They don't just do like Expelliarmus. Like they know stuff. And this isn't the first time that they've fought this war. Mm-hmm. So they've been in combat before. Like they know their shit. Yeah.
And again, so this one is actually my favorite movie.
Okay.
So I have a couple pieces. Snape again steals the show for me. I just love his interaction with the kids. I absolutely love it. But Daniel Radcliffe's acting in this one, I think, is some of the best.
Because he finally got off the sauce.
Because he got off the sauce?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No. What are you talking about?
He was an alcoholic.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, he was an alcoholic, and this was the movie where he got clean. That's why his acting's so much better.
I did not know that at all.
Yeah, he had a little drinking problem.
Wow. So like when
he doesn't like to watch like the first movies because he's like so embarrassed by them.
Yep. He was a kid in the first movie.
I said movies.
Oh, okay. Well, when Severus dies and he screams no, and he goes after what's her name? Bellatrix. That was like, I felt all of that pain, and him running after her and with no hesitation using the curse. His confrontation with Voldemort. The way Voldemort moves, like he really does move like a fucking snake, and he can just strike at any moment. But there was so much embodied power inside of him, and it just makes him even darker and scarier. The fact that he's talking this trash to a child, like he doesn't care. Like he's talking about destroying this kid like any grown man. There was a lot of the emotional acting and really seeing Radcliffe have to push that envelope there. Man, that was so good for me.
Yeah. My good for this is when the kids band together to make DA Dumbledore's army. I love the fact that like up until this point, there really wasn't a lot of mingling between the houses. We'll see like here and there where they would maybe talk to each other, but there really wasn't any. It was always like I'm in this house and you're in this house, and and there was a lot of pride there, which is great. But at the end of the day, they can't survive if they don't band together. And I love that this was like everyone from all the houses joining together against a common enemy and being like, listen, let's put whatever differences aside and let's do this thing. Like, let's protect ourselves. Let's learn how we can protect ourselves.
Yeah, that was good stuff too. I liked them taking charge and wanting to fight and banding together and things like that as well. Like I said, this is my favorite. This one is my favorite movie and my favorite book. All right, so we're on to 6. And what is your bad with 6?
So Half-Blood Prince, my bad for this is when the Weasley's house gets destroyed by the fire.
Mhm.
Because to me, that kind of became, besides Hogwarts, obviously, that kind of became Harry's safe place, his haven, his home. And, you know, it's just like everything that he loves just gets destroyed.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was, and plus I love the Weasleys. They're just like such a great family. They've been so welcoming to Harry and Hermione, and you know, they don't have much, but they're willing to give whatever they have for the people that they love. And
Yeah.
it just was like, why would you do this to them?
Because there's nothing like making characters suffer that make you rally and get behind them even more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my bad is let's see, Dumbledore. Actually, so the biggest bad for me is Dumbledore just not talking to Harry. Um, you would figure after five books of keeping these kids in the dark, you just would let them know. You just tell them what it is. How the Order of the Phoenix kept shielding them and not telling them things. And I get it. They're kids. They don't want the kids fighting and stuff like that. But you probably had a better chance of keeping them from fighting by just telling them exactly what was going on and what was happening instead of keeping all these secrets. And Dumbledore, while Dumbledore's great, and I understand he was stringing all this stuff together for the big end result to finally take Voldemort down, uh, if a lot of stuff could have been saved trouble by just letting them know what's up. Like if he would have told Harry, I know that what's that kid's name? Malfoy. I know that Draco Malfoy is doing stuff for him. I got it, Harry. You stay out of it. Don't say anything to anyone else. I got it. Could have saved us a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone loves him so much, but I find him to be a very flawed character and very irritating. But yeah, and it's like, I don't know how many times that Harry and Hermione and Ron have to like stand up to evil and prove themselves before these adults are finally like, okay, yeah, you're one of us. Like, we're going to tell you what's going on. Like, we don't want you to be fighting with us, but like, here's what's happening. Like, here's what you can do. Instead, it's like, let's keep them in the dark. And it's like, well, that's going to make them want to be involved more because they think that you guys don't know or that you're not involved, or, you know, it's like they've already been up in this shit. They're obviously have to stop now.
Right. It's just like, you might as well just like let them in to a certain degree, but just keep it open and honest with them. Like, I know you guys want to help, but this is why you can't help, and this is what it is. Like, stop making them try to find out things or whatever. And do you realize they've saved you guys for the last 5 films?
Yeah, exactly.
The last 5 films has been them.
Like what else do they need to do to prove themselves capable of handling at least the information, if not helping?
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Dumbledore getting killed by Snape really hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get it. And this is why Snape is the hero we deserve, not the hero that we wanted. But for me, he's the hero I deserve and want. He's my favorite. So the good in 6 for me, that girl getting possessed in that scene was crazy. Like, freaked me out. Like, I was like, oh, that's not good. That's not good. I don't want to see that. But my absolute favorite was Snape. He played that role. He played that character. He played both ends so well. And like, yeah, like I knew, like, it wasn't, obviously it wasn't ultimately revealed that he was a good guy till the next book or whatnot. But, you know, just every fiber in my bones told me he was a good character. He's playing a role. Do you know how brave and how strong you have to be able to go into the lion's den and be that intimate and be that close to Voldemort and still, you know, not be fearful for your life and be able to come back to Dumbledore and tell him what's up and play both ends like that, but then still have the sheer attitude and you can't tell me shit when anybody else approached him about it. Snape's bad. Snape's bad in a good way. Um,
For me, the good was when Harry takes Luna to Slughorn's Christmas party. Luna is just like, I love her. She's just so weird and quirky, but doesn't care. You know, she's just who she is, and that's who
mhm.
she is, and she's totally comfortable with that. And I love her friendship with Harry, and that he just like is like, oh yeah, she's weird, but she's my friend, and I love her, and you know, I'm not going to try to change her, and this and I just, you know, Slughorn's reaction to this like crazy girl, like who the fuck is this? Like I love her, and I love that scene.
You have just helped me out so much by bringing that up. I completely forgot about Luna and how she just does her and she does not care what anybody says. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
So that brings us to Harry Potter 7, The Deathly Hallows.
Part one.
Are we going to do them in parts?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So my bad for Harry Potter 1, The Deathly Hallows is although I understood it and I get it, but I was still disappointed that Harry wasn't going back to school. Like that, none of them were going back to school. Like it made me sad. Like
no, I agree because you know, like the whole thing has been set up. Like, okay, he's at the Dursleys, then he goes to school.
mm-hmm.
That's the flow. That's how we do this. And then again, you're like, wait a minute, this is not how this goes.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't he at school?
Yeah. So it was a little sad, but you know, I get it, I understand it. And we had to raise the stakes of it or whatnot. What about you?
The bad for me was that weird, awkward dancing scene with Harry and Hermione after Ron leaves because Ron's being a shit.
Mm-hmm.
That dancing scene that was not in the book because that was not a thing that happened. There was never anything between Harry and Hermione, and it was ridiculous, and that fucking scene was terrible, and I hated it. And, I mean, I hated this movie, but I hated that scene the most of everything in that movie.
Wow.
Yeah, that scene was crap.
Okay. So, all right. That was true emotion there.
Yeah.
So my good for it. I like journey stories. So while I didn't like that they didn't get back to school. It was more of a sense of just I wanted them to finish school, and that's where we've been at for the last 10 years with Harry Potter or whatnot. But I do enjoy journey films. Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, is my favorite film franchise, my favorite film of all time. I consider them one big thing. But so actually taking them out of their environment and sending them on this quest, this adventure, was really good because now we get to put these characters in a situation that they're not comfortable in, and it brought differences between them and brought up different conversations and different scenarios. So we got to explore and see these characters in a different light, and it brought Ron getting back on my nerves because we've already been here and done that. But I also understood what Ron was talking about. I'm out here cold and hungry and shit. Like we don't even have a plan. So, and I think part of the reason because Ron made a good point, or Ron and Hermione, Dumbledore didn't tell you shit. He just sent you out here and expects you to figure it all out, and you just rode with it. And so I'm like, I don't like that, but it's true.
Yeah, it is true. I'm telling you, Dumbledore is a very flawed character. It's just, I'm sure he not are, but just a little communication, dude. They would have gone a long way.
Well, I think the main reason what they stress across is that he knew Harry would have to sacrifice himself, and I think if he gave him too much information, Harry wouldn't be brave enough to sacrifice himself.
But
he was setting him up to kill himself.
You could at least tell him how to kill the other Horcruxes.
He could have.
Could have at least
that was important,
and then let him figure out that he was also a Horcrux. Oh, surprise! you know.
Right.
The good for me for this movie was the scene where they're moving Harry and everyone takes the polyjuice potion, so they're all Harry.
That was cool.
I
That
really
was a
love
good
that
one.
scene because they all were still kind of like their own personality a little bit, but as Harry, and it was I thought that was really funny. I didn't necessarily love that we lost some people on that trip, but I thought that was a really cool scene.
Mm-hmm. I didn't like that we lost people on that trip either, but I think again it kind of went with the tone of when when something happens and you're not there, you're not in control of it. Like that's what that loss feels like. I mean, they were all flying in the sky. You saw somebody fall down and not get back up, and you don't know the end result of that. So that feeling was something that Harry was feeling, and we had to feel that too as audience members.
Well,
Um,
and at the end of the day, this is war. That's what happens.
yeah,
Like people die.
they
That's
do.
war.
They do. Um, so I did mine. So we are on part two of Deathly
Yeah.
Hallows. Uh, the bad. I'm actually gonna do my bad last. The good.
Mhm.
Snape was always the damn hero. All right, he was always the damn hero. Snape became the new Samwise Gamgee. This movie does not happen without Snape. Hold on.
True. Uh-oh.
That's right. It doesn't happen without him.
Okay, so Mike is showing me his Snape wand.
Yes.
Quite lovely.
Yes, it is.
So for me, the good for this movie is Neville finally having his moment of glory with his rousing speech, followed up with his use of Gryffindor's sword to kill Nagini, which was yeah, at that time was the last Horcrux. So it was, the growth of Neville is just incredible. He starts off as this like kid who can't do anything, and then at the end he is this like really strong, awesome hero who is able to rally the troops and get everybody behind him and ready to finally once and for all vanish and kill Dumbledore. I mean, not Dumbledore, Voldemort. Woo!
No. You're absolutely right. I agree with that. That was a really good part. That was one of the parts I really enjoyed as well. There's so many freaking good parts in this movie. But my bad is the ending. It's not the ending I wanted. I did not. The confrontation with Harry actually physically fighting Voldemort, I thought was pointless. It just didn't. It didn't seem satisfactory to me because throughout this film they have constantly showed you that Harry and Voldemort haven't really had a physical altercation where they were fighting and stuff or whatever long enough to do anything. But Voldemort has always tore Harry apart verbally. He has tore Harry's ego apart, his courage. He has stripped him down with words every time they have confronted each other. And Harry fighting, like physically getting into it and wrestling and all that stuff. Like I felt like that was dumb. All that flying through the sky, through all the smoke and the face change. I was like, what the hell is this? That's not it. Like that's not the moment. That's not how we close this chapter. That's not how we close this book up or this movie up. That didn't work for me at all. And my honorable mention is they played my girl McGonagall because she's my second favorite character, and there is a literal scene in the book where she's fighting 5 Death Eaters by herself, and they needed to show it and give my girl props.
Yeah, McGonagall at the end of the day is super badass.
Yes.
And the movie did not do her justice. For me, my bad, and I've actually been trying to avoid the like, oh, so-and-so dies bad. But at the end of the day, Tonks, Lupin, and Fred dying, that's my bad. especially Tonks and Lupin, because I really hoped that they were going to kind of be the parent figures to Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously that didn't happen. And then them leaving an orphan son was just kind of like completing the circle. And I didn't really like that either.
Man, you can hear it in your voice right now. You weren't a fan of that. Mm. Mm.
And Fred dying was just sad because I love the Weasleys, and with the whole twin thing, it's like, God, he and George did everything together. Like,
everything.
What is George going to be like without Fred?
Mm-hmm. And like again, and so it's like I know that like as her, I don't know how. I'm pretty sure she has a lot of creative input in it or whatnot, but obviously picking those characters to die, it had to suck. It had to sting for us. It had to matter because this thing was so grand and so big. It's like everybody couldn't come out of this thing unscathed. It was just too much going on.
There were I can't remember which book it was, but originally J.K. Rowling had written in for Mr. Weasley to die, and she just couldn't bring herself
to do it.
Yeah, so I'm glad that he survived, but originally he was supposed to die.
Oh, that would have sucked. Yeah. So here comes that. And so if there was one thing I could change or that you could change via book or movie, what would it be?
So one of the big things, and I kind of touched on this, was, Neville has this whole big, and I hate this word, but I'm going to say it, but like he has this journey where he has a lot of growth throughout these books too, but this, and in the movies. But you don't really see it because this is Harry's story. This isn't Neville's story. I would love to see Neville's story. Like, I would love to see that perspective of him, because I feel like his growth was something phenomenal. Like, Harry had growth, but at the end of the day, he started off a little bit better than where Neville was, and he wasn't made fun of really. I mean, besides by some of the people who were jealous that he was the chosen one. But one of the things that they really don't get into, and they do get into this in the book, is that Neville and Harry were born around the same time.
Yeah.
In the prediction, it very well could have been Neville instead of it being Harry.
Right.
And they never touch about that in the movies. And Neville's got a really sad story too. His parents didn't die, but they were just mentally incapacitated by Voldemort. And I mean, I feel like that's probably even worse, because he could go and see his family, but his parents, but they weren't there, like they're alive, but they're not. I feel like that's probably even harder. So this poor kid has had a really rough life, and the only reason it was Harry and not Neville is because, at the time when Voldemort cast that curse, he chose Harry to be the one. So I would have liked to have had more about Neville's story in the movies. I get why they didn't do it, because these movies would have been like 10 hours long each if you put everything from the books in there. And at the end of the day, they decided that this was going to be Harry's story, and a little bit of story about the other people, but mainly this was Harry's story. So that's why you don't get a lot of the backstory on some of the other characters, like in which one is it? In Prisoner of Azkaban, they actually go through, and he gets the story of Moony, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs, and that's important backstory about the friendship of his dad and his friends, and we don't really get that, and I feel like that's really important. So there's a lot of like little things like that I feel like maybe they could have fit some of that into the movies, but I understand at the end of the day why they made the choices that they did. One of the things that I am glad that they didn't include was the whole Hermione's whole house elf crusade with Spew. Society for Promotion of Elfish Welfare. That shit annoyed me, so I was very happy that it was left out of the movies because I was like, this is intolerable. I love you, Hermione, but you're being intolerable right now.
Well, so the two things I wish they would have included was obviously, well, I said one already was McGonagall. She is my second favorite character in the series. I love Harry Potter a whole lot, but I kind of don't count the main characters when there's a big series with a cast of characters like this. Um, but McGonagall, I absolutely loved her. She was like that right amount of strict and that right amount of caring, and I didn't know that she was just like so good until like I read that part in the book where she was fighting like it was like three or four. I exaggerated, but still 3 or 4 Death Eaters by herself. She was handling them. Or when she stood up to Snape when Snape turned coat and she was like, "It's time for you to go," and like her whole facial expression just changed. It was like, "You don't want to go with me. You may want to go with anybody else, but I'm not the one you want to step to." So it would have been nice to have that scene in there. And I understand stuff gets on the cutting room floor, but the one that I will not understand is how the book ends. I feel like the book has the perfect ending between Voldemort and Harry. Like I said, Voldemort verbally destroys Harry in every situation, in every scene that they have together. But this was the one scene at the end where Harry, in front of everyone, decimates Voldemort with words by just talking to Voldemort and destroying Voldemort's ego, destroying Voldemort's confidence, destroying Voldemort's dream. Everything that Voldemort wants, Harry verbally decimates it. And I felt like that was so much more important than having them fight and fly through the sky. It was like such a big character stepping stone for Harry and ending his story. Like that's what I was looking forward to see, like finally seeing Daniel Radcliffe stand up to Voldemort. It wasn't about the fight. It was about him not being afraid and being able to finally speak up. And it was almost like a maturity thing with the conversation that he was having with Voldemort, because he wasn't shaken, he wasn't bothered, he wasn't scared, he wasn't intimidated. He didn't let Voldemort make him nervous, none of that stuff. And it's one of my favorite things out of the books. And I really wish that would have been included in, like, I really wish that would have wrapped, and then they could have did that little thing with the wand, and Voldemort could be blown away by dust like Thanos snapped him. But that's it. So,
but I think overall, what I like about this series and the movies is that none of these characters are perfect. They all are a little bit of good and a little bit of bad. They all have their moments. Like, I really love that these are real people. These characters are, I mean, not real, you know what I mean, but like they act like real human beings. And, there isn't just like this one, like Harry's perfect and he does everything right all the time. Where like Malfoy is a horrible person 100% of the time. There's always, everybody's human and everybody has their good qualities and their bad qualities. Some people are more bad than good and some are more good than bad, but they're all human at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, good. Where's my thing? There we go. So, which one is your favorite all time?
Okay, so books or movie? Because they're different.
Yeah. Movie.
Okay. Movie, Order of the Phoenix is my number one. Do you want my whole list? I got it right here.
Order of the Phoenix is my number one. Go ahead.
Number 2 is Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is Sorcerer's Stone. 4 is Goblet of Fire. 5 is Half-Blood Prince. 6, Chamber of Secrets. 7, Prisoner of Azkaban. And 8 is Deathly Hallows Part 1.
All right. I do not have mine, but my number one movie is Order of Phoenix. But I think our 2 is the same because I definitely enjoyed Deathly Hallows Part 2. And but my favorite book is Order of the Phoenix as well. That was just, I don't know, man. Everything about that just jailed.
So, my favorite book, and I have the right order for all of these too,
It's fine.
is actually Goblet of Fire. Um, 2 is Deathly Hallows. 3 is Sorcerer's Stone. 4 Order of the Phoenix. 5 Half Blood Prince. 6 Chamber of Secrets, and 7 Prisoner of Azkaban.
Okay. All right. So, wow. That was a stunner. We were at that. We were in this one. We're invested. This has been a long time coming.
like, what are we going to be this excited about?
Huh?
What's next? I'm going to be like so jazzed about.
I know. So right now it's just Katie, tell everybody where they can find you at.
Well, you can find me on Instagram or Twitter at honeybadgerkt. You can find us at our Facebook group at GB Nerdy, and you can catch our account on Twitter at TT Nerdy or T Nerdy. Sorry.
Yeah. So you can catch me with shortfusemediagroup.com, where you can get all these awesome comic books, merch, action figures, t-shirts, all types of cool things with indie comic book characters that are just as good as Marvel and DC, if not better. Always catch me at Art of Mike Watson on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And of course, FS Comics, Freestyle Comics on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. The 18th, I will be at Wizard World Columbus with the editor-in-chief of Freestyle Comics, Danny Cooper. I will be there with Jen Ersky and Vigilance and Ironsmith and Laura and Veronica Smith. We will be deep inside of Wizard World camp for 3 days here in Columbus, Ohio. Short Fuse Media will be at Baltimore Comic Con that same weekend. Danny J. Quick, Morgan, Charlie, Sean Mack, Kat, and Daniel Calivan out there representing Short Fuse Media. So we will be at 2 big shows at the same time in 2 different parts of the country. So please support us if you're in Baltimore or if you're in Columbus. We look forward to that and hosting another video game party, our 4th one of the year at GameStop for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which will be dropping October 24th. And we have musical performances there by Solange Gabrielle and hip-hop artist Absolute. Tasty Good food truck will be in the building. If you're in Columbus, Ohio, you know what Tasty Good food truck is. It's amazing. I'm super excited that they're going to be back to it. So, yeah, that's all in all what I have cracking on this end of the Ohio State.
Wow, that seems like a lot.
It is. I like to keep it busy over here. I like to keep it froggish. So, we're at the end of our show, and it's almost a little sad because I know we're obviously gonna do more shows. We're still doing the shows and stuff, but
this is like looking forward to this one for a while.
Yeah, this has been like the thing. This was like the spark that got us started all the way back on the Cosmic Geppetto show or whatnot. So finally that was a pretty in-depth Harry Potter discussion.
Yeah, it was. I mean, but I had to like seriously talk about this for like hours more. But
oh yeah,
fortunately,
this is actually us limiting each other right now. Like.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Maybe we'll revisit this again another time.
Well, it's our show. We can do whatever we want. So. Do whatever we want. All right. So, Katie, what do you want to tell everybody?
Bye.
I love it. I don't know why I like how she says that. It's just awesome. It's a great closing.